This is Matthew from Love Buddy. This is our daily video, and we're going to talk a little bit more today about Palestine and about loving your country, because these things kind of get mixed together. People, they look at nationalism, and people look at how can we, should I be loyal to my country? And what is love about? Is love about supporting your country? Is love about being nationalistic or believing in your country? And is love about, and do we really believe in love when it comes to war? Because people say, okay, all is fair in love and war, right? But I don't so much agree with that idea. I don't think anything is fair at any time. So what about this idea of love? When it comes to the situation in Palestine, which I talked about yesterday, talk about it again today. Maybe it's just going to be a temporary topic for right now, because I don't want to harp on that same topic so much. Yesterday we went over the idea of what I think that Israel is really up to. Got quite a bit of agreement on that. And there were about 83 people that have seen the video from yesterday so far. And there seems to be kind of a consensus that Israel has moved in. They're forcing the hands of the Palestinians to fight back. And what is that motivation? Maybe part of that motivation has to do with supporting Palestine as a concept. They believe in their country, they believe in their land, they feel like it's been invaded, and they're standing their ground to defend it. That might be one of the larger reasons, one of the more common reasons why Palestinians will fight back. And one of the things that came up specifically had to do with the idea of using violence, and is violence justified? And I've gotten a lot of backlash on my. I've gotten a lot of criticism for saying that. There was a time that I saw a video, I don't know how many years ago it was now, maybe more than 10 years ago. There was an Israeli man and his daughter driving through Palestine, and they were on a kind of a mountain road, and they were attacked by a group of Palestinians, obviously because these people were throwing rocks at the car and trying to stop the car, and I think they were hitting the car with bars or sticks or something like that. Long story short, the guy hit the gas to get out of there, and in doing so, he hit one of the people that was standing in front of the car and attacking the car. And all of my friends at the time, I did have some friends at the time that supported Israel, but most of my friends were in support of Palestine. They got really angry at me because I said, hey, why don't we, why do we have to use violence against this guy? This guy's just living there, he's just driving his daughter somewhere. He's not trying to hurt anybody. In fact, he could be in support of Palestine. We don't know. And I don't think they knew who the guy was when they attacked him. The point being that, is that right? Just to take any person who's Jewish or any person who's Israeli and attack them because they're driving their car on the road. So I had a lot of people say, because the guy is there, he had no right to be there. And he had no right to, I guess he's in support of Israel automatically. And to me, it just doesn't seem fair to attack any person. These are the kind of people that when 9/11 happened, they beat the crap out of the Sikhs, because Sikhs had turbans on their heads. And these guys are from India, and they got nothing to do at all with, first of all, the people who orchestrated 9/11. It had nothing to do with Islam. totally different, completely different religion. And they're just peaceful guys, and they're probably yelling, hey, I'm not even Arabic, I'm not even Muslim, but people get extreme and they'll attack anybody at any time. And then when it comes to someone who's holding a gun, they volunteer to be in the US military, and they shoot bullets at innocent people in the land where they've invaded. And they say, hey, I was just following orders. And people say, oh, the US government is bad because they tell these boys to do that. You don't have to join the military. And if you're in the military for some reason, you think you're doing some good, you're responsible when your finger's on that trigger. You're responsible when that rock is in your hand. The Israeli snipers that take pot shots at their pleasure of the people that are peacefully demonstrating in their own neighborhood, in their own territory, on their own side of the wall that was built. Those Israeli snipers, I mean, I just can't imagine the level of brainwashing and the level of misinformation that they've been through to justify shooting a reporter, shooting a pregnant woman. I mean, these guys are skilled snipers with scopes, with the perfect perch, with a short distance that probably any trained sniper could decide who they're going to hit, who they're not going to hit. And so these guys are taking out limbs of people and killing people, medics. So the guy with his finger on the trigger, this is my finger, I'm responsible for where this goes. It seems kind of silly, doesn't it, to say that, but it's so darn obvious that I'm responsible for what I do with my finger. I'm responsible for what I do with my hands. I'm responsible for what I throw and who I hit. Me, it's on me. Don't blame the ideology. Don't blame some vague government. Don't blame some vague, don't blame Zionism and say, oh, I beat up this Jewish woman in New York City because she's a Jew. Not necessarily supporting Zionism at all. She may be very supportive of whatever cause you might have, specifically the Palestinian cause in this case. So what's the point in being violent to people that have nothing to do with the conflict at hand? People get hypocritical about this. They say a soldier who's shooting the gun, he's not responsible as commanding officer. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You're responsible for what you do. Let's bring it down to brass tacks. Let's bring it down so that we have a level of accountability that can work. Because once you say that, oh, it was my commanding officer, oh, it was the president of the United States, oh, it was this, no, that makes it so vague. And then on the other hand, when people try to justify violence against any Jew, violence against any Israeli, no matter whether they're involved in some peaceful action or something that has nothing to do with you or hurting your friends, there's a real hypocrisy there. What does it do? Well, it fits an agenda. It fits the agenda of I'm not responsible for what I'm doing, it's them. But when we look at the qualities of love, one of the key qualities of love is accountability, because it has to do with sincerity. It has to do with being, not being deceptive, not being manipulative, but caring what people say, caring what people think, caring about your level of personal integrity. If you have a level of personal integrity, you're not going to be deceptive, which throws out the whole Mossad, doesn't it? Because that's how they do their operations. That's how a lot of people do their operations. A lot of people in the sales industry are honest, but a very big portion of them will say and do things and manipulate and show things in a way that is not really directly honest. And when it comes to warfare, we're looking at people's lives here. I spoke with an Israeli friend of mine who doesn't answer my messages anymore. I think because I told him I didn't agree with Zionism. And he and I were friends for a really long time, met in San Diego. Israeli guy, dual passport holder, living in Israel now, building a house, not in settlements, but more within, I think, Tel Aviv city. Anyway, he was saying that he supported Zion. He believed in Zion. And he said that, when you I forgot the exact point I was going to make, but he was a good friend of mine, used to be a friend, and until I kind of took a stand against this idea of Zionism and hurting others, we were friends, we were in dialogue, but not anymore. And it seems that the people that support the Israeli side, they normally they'll hang in there for a little bit with me. I do my best to be respectful, I do my best to be understanding, but I stand my ground when it comes to the settlements being illegal and people being forced off their land violently and against, most of the countries in the world say that that's a war crime. So anyway, the point about accountability, a person who is sincerely honest and has integrity, they're going to say, mea culpa, I did it, my fault, my mistake. I'm responsible for my actions. If we're not responsible for our actions, it's a free-for-all. That's complete deception. That's like a politician when they're being questioned by Congress or by someone in a trial, pleading the fifth. I don't recall. I don't recall. It's just a lie, but they can get away with that. So they're being deceptive and manipulative. And the people that really want to improve the situation, people that are sincere in their heart, they don't base their behavior on deceptions. So this idea of loving each other and this idea of being in the love zone is being in integrity, being sincere, being honest, being responsible for your actions, and being accountable. So when it comes to loving your country, when it comes to nationalism, when it comes to, for example, I was born in America, when people say, believe in the red, white, and blue, don't burn the flag. I had a debate with a friend when I worked at Hewlett Packard as a software developer about this. And, he was just complaining about people burning the flag and how they should be beat up or whatever, violently stopped from burning the flag. And my comeback at the time, this was over 23 years ago or something, my comeback at the time had to do with, look, it's just a piece of cloth, and let people say what they want to say, let people do what they do. They're not hurting anything. Unless you're burning a person, you're just burning a piece of cloth outside where it's safe. It's like having a barbecue, but you're using cloth to do that, right? So let people express that. And if they're really against, like in Iran right now, they can see the U.S. aggression. They can see it building. They can see the agenda backed by Israelis' agenda, backed by Israel's agenda, because they just want to take over that. Anybody who's possibly hostile to them, they want to go in and destroy that country, destroy the leadership. Excuse me. Live video, huh? Nothing we can do. Apologize. So they want to take down Iran, and now the Iranians see that coming, so they're burning American flags because they can see who's going to come and attack them. Let them burn the flags. If they're doing that, I believe that most people, not everyone, there are extremists, but I think they're probably 1%. But there are a lot of followers that really don't know what's going on. And if they have a chance to really learn the truth, they have a chance to have a calm discussion, they're against violence, they're against being extreme. So yeah, there are some people, terrorists, especially in America, they don't call themselves terrorists though, because they don't believe they're terrorists. So when we look at being in a loving way, believe it or not, it may seem like an original idea to people, or it may seem like a contradictory idea, but love does not include murder. Love does not include physical attacks. Love does not include this kind of hate where you see someone as the enemy. I've had my own Christian friends tell me that they didn't say they're your enemy, they said love your enemy. They didn't call me their enemy because that's a little bit too honest for some of these people to say, hey, he's my enemy, so I'm going to love him anyway. But this idea of, justifying hostility, justifying violence against others because of what you believe in because of what they believe in, because of what they said, or because of what their friends did, because of what their country did. And this is what happened in Iraq, right? We had people go over there from the US military and attack innocent people. And I mean, hundreds of thousands of people were murdered in their own country, and they had no part of this conflict. Is that right? If you believe in love, you don't believe in violence. You can't have both. You can't claim to be a loving person and justify murder, whether it's capital punishment, by lethal injection, by hanging, by beheading, by stoning. This is not love. On the other hand, we don't make ourselves martyrs. We don't commit suicide. We don't let rapists or murderers or violent people run free and not be accountable. Accountability works both ways. Not only are we accountable for ourselves, what we do, but we need to hold others accountable too. So if we know that someone's a menace, we have to stop them hurting others. We have to prevent them. That doesn't mean locking them in a cage and treating them like dirt all the time. No, it's not necessarily that. But it does mean protecting our neighborhood, protecting our world from people that are crazy and violent and have the intention to hurt other people. So I do believe in restraint. I do believe in exposing people that have evil intentions, exposing people that commit deeds that are hurtful and harmful to others. And I especially believe in empowering the weak, enabling the weak, whether it's pepper spray or whether it's a baton or, I don't know, gun. Guns can be so dangerous, but I think in general, people that are trained to use guns properly as self-defense, they're a wonderful deterrent, and there are a lot of stories about that. So without getting into the gun debate, because that's just too complicated right now, but what I do want to say is that self-defense is something we need to be able to do and something we can be encouraged to do against someone who's attacking us. Now, America doesn't practice self-defense with its armed forces. It'll engage and kill and murder anywhere in the world it wants. Israel, the partner in crime, does that too. They went in and murdered people in another country with fake passports. They went to UAE in Dubai, I guess it was in Dubai. And the assassins that are Israel state trained and funded and supported went in and murdered people. Obama sent a drone, right? Killed an American with a drone. This is all murder. I don't justify this, and I don't think that this kind of murder is any way to treat anybody. That doesn't make sense. So when it comes to this issue, going back to Palestinians, absolutely, their backs against the wall and people that are getting attacked. But I don't think that it's practical and constructive to shoot rockets into Israel and aggravate. I don't think it makes sense to aggravate. If you have a chance to think twice about it. And I've been in situations where my life was threatened and my safety was threatened. And I could have stood my ground because I said that I had the right, or I could have gotten out of there and regrouped and tried to find a greater justice. There is a greater justice in the world, but it takes patience. We have what's called the reptilian part of our brain. This is the brain stem, and it's there because we evolved, and it's there because we want to survive. And part of the survival can be fight or flight. So when we feel like our back's against the corner, the adrenaline goes crazy, and we'll either run or we'll fight, we'll stand our ground. This kind of reptilian, I mean, try communicating with a lizard, try to have a conversation. There's no conversation, there's no communication, there's no rationality, there's no sensitivity or compassion going on there. We're above that. So let's not act like reptiles. Let's not say, because he hit me, I'm going to hit him back, or because he hit my friend, I'm going to hit him back. That's not necessarily the solution. Subdue someone who's attacking, absolutely. But aggressively attack someone who's not attacking you, that's not thinking rationally. And when it's someone who's going to murder or maim you, doesn't make sense to do that either. So this is my opinion. If you have an opinion about this idea about being accountable for your actions, about holding others accountable for their actions, about supporting your country. What does it mean to love your country? Does that mean to go murder somebody else? Does that mean to lose your life and let your family die over an olive tree? Does it mean that you can't relocate to another place that's safe? Make your plan to have justice, or live your life in peace, live your life in compassion and in partnership and in love and in community with other people in a peaceful and positive way? Or does it mean getting all riled up and constantly fighting out of hate and anger because of injustices that are being done? The world isn't just. The world will never be completely just. That's the way things are. You know, you slice up a piece of pie, somebody's going to get a bigger piece, somebody's going to get a smaller piece, unless you're using a micrometer or you're measuring by the gram, or something ridiculous like that. And the world can't work that way. The world doesn't work that way. So there are injustices all over the place. Pick your battle. Pick your fight. We lose the battles sometimes to win the war, but we don't fight for every little thing, every little time. We don't get our family killed. We don't get ourselves killed in the process for the principle of the thing. Because what is your principle? Is your principle to live in love, in compassion, caring for others, doing your best to protect the meek and the weak, and doing your best to hold the bullies accountable? This can bring a life of peace, and this can bring peace to the earth. But tit for tat, revenge, reptilian behavior, extreme behavior based upon some obscure principle that has nothing to do with the here and now, it's not going to get us anywhere, and it hasn't gotten us anywhere. And when you pull that trigger, when you throw that rock, that's your hand, that's your finger, it's on you, and it's on me. What I do, what I say, how I behave. Let's find a way to love each other more. Let's find a way to find peaceful solutions. And where we can't find a peaceful solution because we're being physically attacked, restrain that individual who's attacking you at that point. Hold them accountable, but don't murder them because it was wrong for them to try to murder you. Two wrongs don't make a right in that case. But make it so that things are safe, whatever that takes. Make it so that you're protecting the weak. And there's a lot more compassion, there's a lot more reasonableness, and there's a lot more positive outcomes possible that could come from using love as a model instead of nationalism, these obscure principles, revenge, violence, or reptilian behavior. Okay, that's the thought for today. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your comments. I'm open to hear what people might say, what you might have to share. Thank you so much for being there. This is Matthew from Love Buddy. I love you. Have a great day.